Hi, Priya.
Yes, hi. Good to be speaking with you again, Chandrani.
Yeah,
What are you going to ask today?
yeah. So, like 75% of employers believe that multidimensional skills are crucial for their current business success, especially, amid these changing complex business environments and all. So, but I was reading up that it's quite difficult for most organizations because there's time constraint. So, in that case, how do you think organizations can support the development of multidimensional skills among employees while also keeping in mind the usual daily productivity that needs to be happening?
Hmm. A good question, and I don't know if there is a specific way that people have resolved, or I'm able to answer you directly, but I can share a point of view here. I was talking to Venkat this morning and while we were looking at some of the new hires that we were planning to bring into the organization. There was a question that was posed to me, and Venkat said, "Hey, do you think that whenever you bring in people with multidimensional skills, they or you get them for multidimensional roles, which means to say that they're doing a couple of roles combined, right? Because they have the capability. For example, let's say I'm looking at a inside sales specialist to join the team, but I see that the person can be a growth marketer as well.
Right.
So when I bring in people with uh, different dimensions that they can bring into the working world, usually the question that came to me was that will people usually tend to take one particular dimension which is easy for them to deliver, and then the other dimension which they have been hired for as a joint role that doesn't deliver results for, and it requires a competent person to do that as well. So there's always this organizations have that they want to, it's not about adding more and more people into the roles, but having people with these different skill sets to come into the roles. But defining clarity in those roles or defining performance dimensions becomes very crucial then, especially when you're hiring people where roles, especially you're hiring a person for a couple of different roles.
Right.
But today, the other aspect to think about also is each role by in itself, even if it is focused at a task level, a person has to build multi-dimensional capabilities or multiple different lenses to achieve success in that task. For example, if you are creating a proposal, if you are a solution specialist and you're trying to create a proposal, you cannot do it without having different various stakeholder alignment.
Right.
Or you can't really, submit something without looking at the ability to understand the markets and the financial acumen, business and financial acumen that you bring on board to creating the solutioning.
Right.
So, um, each of the roles that we have, or each task within an organization itself requires multiple lenses to achieve success today, because everything else can be anything which is redundant and which can be simply done is already available through the support of technology. I mean, today you can even get inputs using the various forms or various platforms or technologies, right, that can help you get things. But how does the individual bring in those multiple different lenses adds the creative dimension, right? So I think it's becoming more and more important for roles that are blending, and also for singular roles to have multiple different lenses. So that's why
Right.
it's important to really understand, where do I stand as an individual? If you are a manager, where do I stand, and how do I look at these the changing patterns of the job expectations, and am I that is where the learning should be focused on. Say
Yeah.
sometimes people, I mean, there's a very generic tendency to get into learning just because everybody else is doing. So there's a herd mentality to learning. So
Yeah.
somebody is doing this, I also should do it. But trying to see what your what your role requires, and what's the additional component that you are passionate about, that you can add and focusing on that becomes important if you're getting into more and more blended roles for within organizations. And it's about delivering your outputs differently. So if
Right.
you're instead of having one or two lenses to deliver your output, now how do you have an integrated lens to delivering your specialized outputs are also
Right.
going to be very important. And that's what I'd like to kind of share here, Chandrani.
Yeah. Thank you, Priya. Thank you so much for talking about this, because it's indeed a very integral aspect today. Like there's always been this, discussion between who's a generalist, who's a specialist, but one cannot really ignore the aspect of multidimensional skills. It's very, very important. So I'm glad you shared your perspectives on this. I'm sure it'll help a lot of people out there. So
Thank
thank you so much, Priya.